Hello, welcome to Save U.S. Taxes Legally. I know death and taxes are a taboo topic. I want to teach as many U.S. investors, U.S. business owners, entrepreneurs, franchise owners, professionals, and self-employed how to save taxes. Most people have never heard of this, so I call it the secret of the rich. The Spendthrift Trust comes from England way back when King Henry VIII, that famous king who chopped off his wife's heads, started the Church of England. What a swell guy. He could divorce them. He went to go tax the lords and ladies of England, and they went back to the 12th century, the Magna Carta, said, oh, no, 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 King Henry VIII, you can't do this. It's contract law that came to the colonies while we were still part of England. The law firm I work on behalf of inherited a trust that is going to turn 365 years old this year. The United States is turning 250 years old. Our current tax structure that we're under went into effect February of 1913. And the only thing it's done since then is grown and grown and grown and grown. So I hope you have pen and paper and you have your cell phone so you can take pictures. I want you to learn the secret of the rich. Let's share this. Give me 1 second. Now the Spendthrift Trust, I need to change this. You save both federal and state income taxes. You keep your information 100% private. This is on the federal level, and we highly suggest you shut down all LLCs, S Corps, and C Corps, because that's on the state level. Anyone can research that online 24/7, and 40% of LLCs, S Corps, and C Corps get sued every year. And talking about lawsuits, I can't stop you from being sued, but all lawsuits become frivolous and go away. This is an amazing document, and you should learn more about this. Now, this is the 2026 federal income taxes. So few people know about this, so I keep the slide in to teach this to everyone. There's 4 ways to file. Single is the most expensive way. Then there's head of household, you're divorced with children 18 or younger in your household, married filing separately, and the cheapest way is married filing jointly. Quietly, on January 1st of 2025, the IRS quietly changed married filing separately to match single all the way up to 35% tax bracket. If you're married, do yourself a favor and file jointly. Check this out. At 24% married filing separately, you start at $105,701, but married, it's $211,000, double the amount of savings. Do yourself the favor. Now, there's 5 elements to the Spendthrift Trust. It's irrevocable, complex, discretionary, non-grantor Spendthrift Trust. Yes, the IRS wrote a letter. If your financial advisor or your CPA says, ooh, the IRS wrote a letter or a memo on August 9th of 2023. On that memo, it's 15 pages long, it actually says this is not tax information. They literally said they do not like tax code 643B. They do not like the irrevocable, complex, discretionary, non-grantor Spendthrift Trust. Sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. That's okay. In my opinion, the worst vegetable in the entire world are lima beans. You can't swallow them whole because they get stuck in your throat. You try to stab on your plate, they go all over the plate. You have to chew them. Only Congress can change the tax code. Too many presidents, too many senators, too many congresspeople, and their people in their super fund PACs that donate all this money to their campaigns know the secret of the rich. Unfortunately, if you were a TSA agent this year, you didn't get paid for 9 weeks. I don't know how those agents got gas, bought food, and could work. So let's go over these 5 elements. Irrevocable means it goes from generation to generation. You're going to leave a legacy. The Rockefellers Spendthrift Trust is called the Office. It's 7 generations old and has over 400 people under the same EIN or employee identification number. So this goes from each individual family files a separate 1041 tax return. There is no commingling of the money. Complex. This trust can hold money from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, decade to decade, century to century. Uh, 97% of the trusts sold every year are what my mom and dad had and what Susie Orman talks about on PBS television, the family trust or the living trust. There's nothing wrong with the family trust. It's designed to avoid probate and then it dissolves. My mom and dad were the settlers, excuse me, or the grantors of the trust, and both of them passed away. The trust just dissolved. This is not your mom and dad's trust. This trust is going to save you federal and state income taxes year after year. You're going to leave a legacy. You're going to keep your information 100% private. All lawsuits become frivolous and go away. And I forgot to tell you, if you're over 65, you'll stop paying the IRMA surcharge on Medicare Parts B and D. Non-Grantor, or discretionary. Whoever is the trustee or trustees can make the rules for the beneficiaries while the trustee's alive and also from the grave. There's no infighting, there's no contesting the will or anything else. A client of mine, husband and wife with 4 apartment buildings in Los Angeles, are allowing their adult daughter to live rent-free in one of the apartments. They do have a requirement. She has a drug problem. She has to pass 4 random drug tests per month to stay there. The daughter actually took her mom and dad to federal court to sue them, saying it was unconstitutional for her to do the drug tests. The judge read through the Beneficial Spendthrift Trust they had, and he told her she has 2 options. Option A, move out, start paying her own rent. Option B, stay in the apartment and pass the drug tests. There was nothing unconstitutional about that. I do not want to be invited to their Thanksgiving dinner. Non-Grantor. This makes the trust completely private. You're going to have someone who will never be a beneficiary and who will never be a trustee, be your grantor or your settler. You will need their social security number. This is not a speed bump. I have done this for many of my clients. I sign up as a grantor, and then I sign myself away as a non-grantor. I have no idea what you're doing with the trust. And then finally, spendthrift. This has been in front of many courts. I have 2 pages of case law. If you need those 2 pages, just put your email into the chat and I'll make sure you get the case law for that. Now, Paul Benson wrote 5 specific trusts to save specific taxes. You are not tax-free. I live in Cary, North Carolina, which is part of Wade County, a suburb of Raleigh. When I go to the grocery store to buy food, it's 2% tax for food. But if you get bad food, soda pop, candy, chips, ice cream, they charge you 7%. They're not going to shame me into stop buying my Breyers mint chip ice cream. We're going to talk about 2 of the trusts here. The business trust to save federal and state income taxes, and the beneficial trust to stop paying taxes if you're an investor. This is an actual client of mine, a husband and wife in Rhode Island who have a franchise. They know in 2025, they made over $985,000 with their sub shop. The wife called me and said, how much could we be saving? In federal income taxes, I don't say what tax bracket they're at. I want to say that they're at 37% tax bracket. They're going to save $286,614 in federal income taxes. And on top of that, $59,001 in Rhode Island state income taxes. They pay their taxes quarterly, so they would take the $345,615 divided by 4 to figure out how much they're saving. They can open a second franchise if they want to. They don't. They can pay off their mortgage. They can buy a new vehicle. They can take their family on vacation. They have 2 children. They can set up college funds for their kids. They can give to their favorite charity, or they can save with retirement. This is their money. They'll never have to pay back again. Worst case scenario, their great-great-grandson in 2095 decides great-great-grandma and great-great-granddad were crazy. He cancels the trust. The great-great-grandson is responsible for any taxes that would be saved in 2095. Anything saved in 2026, 2027, 2030, 2045, 2060, 2080, $20.95 will never have to be paid back again. Working with the Benson Financial Group, if you get questioned by the IRS, they will defend you free of charge. In 78 years, not a single trust has ever been audited. And honestly, one trust was questioned by a senior IRS agent. He went down to Houston to the law firm. He spent 5 hours in the boardroom. He approved the trust. And 2 weeks later, he sent an unsolicited letter back to the law firm. We call it the Myers letter. If you need that, put your email into the chat. I'll make sure you get that. Then he retired from the IRS. He was an IRS agent for 27 years. He became an affiliate just like I am. He reached out to all the former people he questioned or audited and told them about the trust. He just retired from the law firm. He's in his late 70s. He made quite a bit of money doing that. So the business trust is for any business owner, franchisee owner, entrepreneur, somebody in trades, a professional, or self-employed. If you make $100,000 a year, I guarantee you will save 5 figures in federal and state income taxes, no matter if you file single, head of household, married filing separately or jointly, or if you live in Florida or Texas that don't have state income taxes. The more you make, the more you save. Now, my personal story, my watershed month was October of 2018. 3 major things happened. I'm living in Phoenix, Arizona, working as a Medicare broker. And my oldest nephew was getting married on October 27th, 2018. And I had the time saved up. I requested the Friday before the wedding, the Monday after the wedding to have off. If you know anything about Medicare, open enrollment happens from October 5th to December 7th. Anyone in Medicare can change their policies with no penalties. I was told, no, it's open enrollment. I didn't like working as a Medicare broker before that, and I disliked it even more. Second thing that happened, I bought a brand new 2017 Hyundai Veloster with a moonroof. You need that in Phoenix, driving at night. I was 3 weeks old. I'm driving to work. To be at work at 7:30 in the morning. I'm the second car through in a green light on Indian School Road. Somebody runs the red light, hits me on my passenger side. He's drunk, he's high, has no insurance, and all of a sudden I'm upside down on my auto loan. Silly Sally, because she's a procrastinator, has the paperwork for gap insurance sitting on her kitchen table. She has 4 weeks to fill it out. It's only 3 weeks old. Business Spendthrift Trust. If you are a U.S. business owner, sorry, my thing's going off. But I purposely bought this Rocky Mount, North Carolina, a bank-owned reverse mortgage because I wanted to make sure that you can save as much money as possible. When it finally went to auction, I paid $20,000 for it. And when it finally went to auction, I made $64,326. Without lifting a hammer, I made a profit of $44,326. And at 24% tax bracket, I got to save $10,368. Oh, I forgot to tell you the third thing that happened. My mom and dad, who lived in Goodyear, Arizona, drove 25 miles west of Phoenix, drove from Goodyear to Charlotte for the wedding. Thursday before the wedding, my dad calls me to say, do not change your flights. Your mom's in the emergency room. We do not know what's wrong. Still fly in 7:20 on Saturday, the wedding. Well, I'll pick you up from the airport. He picked me up from the airport. We go to Pineville Hospital, see my mom. She's in a contamination room. Had to put on all the equipment. I walk in. The priest is giving her last rites. It ended up she had septic in the blood. It got into her pacemaker. She had open heart surgery. She was on a ventilator for 13 months, in a hospital for 15 months. My dad stayed at my brother's house and visited her every day in the hospital. They had planned to be gone for 2 weeks. I was going out to their house every weekend to do the mail. In the first week of December, there was a letter that was 27 pages thick. It was my mom's Medicare statement. Emergency room and 1 month on the ventilator is $72,000. My dad, who was retired military, had TRICARE for life. Everything's being paid for. I'm standing in their kitchen. I have a mortgage. I have student loans because I went to graduate school. I have 2 car payments, 1 car. I have $10,000 deductible on health insurance, and I have credit card debt. Right then and there, I called my friend Glenn, who had invited me to a real estate meeting back in August of 2018. He answers, and I'm like, Glenn, I need to change my life. He's like, Sally, next weekend, we're having a Christmas potluck dinner. Bring a $5 gift and some food and meet my fellow real estate investors. I don't know about y'all, but going to a party where you don't know anyone except for Glenn and Rhonda, who are going to show up until 9:30, the party starts at 6, it's a little bit intimidating. I did it, and I got to meet my mentor, Jay Tannenbaum, who taught me how to wholesale 7 different wholesale bank-owned properties. In 2019, with my mentor, I wholesaled 7 bank-owned properties, one in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where I made over $40,000. Another one in a 6-unit apartment building in Massachusetts, where I made a whole bunch of money also. On April 4th of 2020, my CPA calls to tell me, congratulations, I had made so much money, my tax bracket went from 22% to 24%, and all of a sudden I owed $94,000 in taxes. It's in the middle of COVID. My 6 properties did not pay me on April 1st. I had notes where people are supposed to pay me their mortgage. Well, Bank of America, they didn't have to pay their mortgage. On the Bank of Sally, they were supposed to pay their mortgage. I had no money coming in. My CPA's suggestion or his solution was set up an appointment with him, get on a payment plan, pay interest and penalties. My solution, I go to bed crying on April 4th. A great book to read is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. I woke up on April 5th. I knew I was going to contact my friend whose husband did did HELOCs on their houses. And then I had read an article about the Rockefellers Spendthrift Trust. If the Rockefellers can save taxes, I can save taxes. It took me 5 months. But in September of 2020, I start both my business and my Beneficial Spendthrift Trust. And in September 3rd of 2020, I start teaching a mastermind in my real estate group to teach other investors how to stop paying taxes. This is my first property. I bought it on July 2020. I bought the contract for $20,000. And I've done 28 wholesale deals or 27 wholesale deals since then. I have 12 notes. I have 7 seller financing properties. I have 4 rentals, a crypto bot. My friend Glenn does my options trading, and I pay nothing in taxes. So this is the Beneficial Spendthrift Trust. You're going to save the following 5 taxes year after year, generation after generation. You'll stop paying short-term and long-term capital gains. Short-term capital gains affect you if you wholesale, fix and flip, do auction houses, tax liens, you do options trading, you're a forex investor, or you're selling crypto. Long-term capital gains, I'll have another slide, but they're either 15 or 20% when you sell your business, sell an investment property, or a baseball card. Interest income taxes are just like federal income taxes and affect you when you're a passive investor or have passive income. You're in mutual funds, you're in a REIT, you're doing subject to real estate, the BRRRR strategy. I have notes where on the paper on the house, people pay me their mortgage, creative financing, seller financing, or forex investors. Yes, forex investors, you get double tax. You need the Beneficial Spendthrift Trust. Dividend income taxes. If you're in the stock market, you're a day trader, you're doing futures trading, commodities trading, or you're living on dividends, you're being taxed between 10% to 37%. Rental income taxes. Yes, you can move a property with depreciation scale into the trust. Yes, you can move a property with cost averaging into the trust. If you have short-term rentals like Airbnb or vacation rentals, you have 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, or 100 doors. You're in multifamily real estate, you're in apartment real estate, you're in commercial real estate, or you're doing Airbnb arbitrage. The one thing that you're going to save is royalty income taxes. They're taxed a little bit less, between 10% to 35%, 7 different levels. But if you're an actor, an actress, a musician, an author, an artist, you get NFTs, copyrights, patents, or intellectual property, you'll stop paying that. Robin Williams, the great actor and comedian, had the Beneficial Spendthrift Trust. Unfortunately, he committed suicide, but his 3 adult children pay no royalties on all his works. This just shows you if you make $50,000 or if you make $100,000 by tax bracket, how much you'd be saving every single year. Now, this is a North Carolina subject to deal that I did. It was a husband and wife, 2 boys, 2 dogs. They did not pay their mortgage during COVID. They got on the pre-foreclosure list. I went around door knocking to 224 houses. They had hired or they interviewed a real estate agent who came in, looked at the house, and gave them 19 things to fix, including redoing their kitchen, pulling up all the carpeting because the dogs had peed on the carpeting, pull up the tile, paint the inside and outside of the house. They were so frustrated. They figured out that they were going to live in corporate housing in Houston for 3 months. It would take them 3 months to go through foreclosure. They were just going to walk away from the house. They contacted me. The movers came in, packed them up. They left on a Sunday. My real estate agent who gave me the list did an open house the Saturday afterwards, 6 days later. I went around to all the neighbors and explained to all the neighbors, I'm putting the house $100,000 less than the cheapest house in the neighborhood because the real estate agent gave them a list of 19 things to do. Here's the information. Come look at the house at the open house. We had an open house. The people who bought the house, the wife walks in, she sniffs and she goes, it smells like dog. And I said, yes, the dog peed on the family room carpeting. You can decide if you want to get green carpeting or purple carpeting because you're saving so much money, you put in what you want. They got in a bidding war. My real estate agent made 3%. The real estate agent that won made 3%. The family that was going to walk away from this house, I gave them $50,000 for a down payment to buy a house in Houston. And I got to make $144,000 on this one property. At 24% tax bracket, I saved $34,800 in interest income taxes. Now, the long-term capital gains. This came from a business broker. Actually, he got paid both ways. He's an affiliate of mine. The gentleman who bought the HVAC company and 12 trucks and 12 technicians started the business trust. The gentleman and his wife who started this business on their kitchen table sold it for $1.7 million. At 15%, they got to save $255,000 on April 15th of 2024. Or at 20%, they got to save $340,000 on April 15th, 2024. The business broker, because he's my affiliate, got to make $2,000 on this deal. Now, talking about IRMA, income-related adjustable amount. This comes out every October. The IRS goes back 2 years and looks at all 1040 tax returns for anybody who's on Medicare. Their supercomputers adds everything together. How much you're getting from Social Security, how much you're getting from pensions. Are you making any wages? Did you do a 401k withdrawal or a SEP withdrawal? Did you have capital gains taxes, interest income taxes, dividend income taxes, rental income taxes, or royalty income taxes? These are 2025 numbers because they haven't come out with 2026 yet. But if you're single or head of household and you make $106 or more, you're going to pay a premium on Parts B and D of Medicare. If you're married or widowed and make more than $212,000, you're going to pay a premium on Parts B and D of Medicare. One of my clients started the trust because I'm going to save them dividend income taxes. I knew he was 70, his wife was 72. We're going to save them over $72,000 in dividend income taxes. Very smart investor. And I asked him how much they were paying on IRMA surcharges. He was unaware, but his wife said, we're paying over $628 per person per month. I said, now that you've started the Beneficial Spendthrift Trust, I can get each one of you down to $185 per month and stop the IRMA surcharge. So besides saving $72,000 a year in dividend income taxes, they were also saving $1,200 a month on IRMA surcharges. Whoops, let me stop sharing. Now, if you would like to set up a 30-minute tax breakthrough session with me, it's going to be www.thetrustisyou.com. Please set up a meeting with me. I didn't have the thing at the end of it. I'm so sorry. But I hope you have a wonderful week. Take care.